for 200 years, Egyptologists had studied the most important people of the time of the pyramids. The kings and their officials, they find their statues, their inscriptions, and their large tombs up on the plateau. But nobody had really answered the question, or even asked it, where were all the workers who built the pyramids? So in 1988-89, we did the first excavation here in an area about 400 meters south of the Sphinx to see if, in fact, this is where the workers lived. This is where some of the infrastructure was for building the pyramids. The site is only excavated very recently because people weren't interested in settlement. People were interested in tombs, statues, gold bowls, and mummies, inscriptions. Egyptology really started largely as a philology. But we do a different kind of archaeology. We actually save and analyze every scrap of ancient animal bone. When they butchered and consumed goats, sheep, cattle, fish, birds, they left the bones about in their garbage. And so we're doing something more like anthropology. We collect this evidence and we want to understand their diet, how they lived, what the climate was like, how they produced the food, how they gathered all this energy in one place to build the pyramids. We know that these people were fed an enormous quantity of meat. In fact, we think that using the samples of ancient bone material from their garbage, the people who lived here 4,500 years ago, we think that there's enough meat that was consumed here to feed 6,000 to 7,000 people if they ate meat every day. And a lot of this meat was cattle. And when we can age and sex the cattle, it tends to be under 18 months, under 2 years old, and mostly male. The people here were eating extraordinarily well. Prime beef. And of course, beef is the most expensive, and most prestigious of all the meat consumed. The evidence we have of their diet indicates they ate very well. So it tends to argue against the idea that these were slaves building the pyramids. In fact, the whole idea of slavery, even the question of it from a modern audience, is completely confused and misunderstood. So our work is a little bit more like a detective, like a police detective's work in a crime scene. If a police detective goes into a crime scene, ideally she or he will not move any evidence. They photograph it. They do drawings of it. They collect fingerprints and samples of blood if there's blood in this crime scene. That's what we do, except it's not a crime scene. It's a scene where thousands of people lived. But we collect every piece of evidence, we do drawings, we do photographs, and we try to reconstruct their life. Because it's far more interesting for us than, say, another tomb with another series of texts. In fact, we almost are unhappy if we find nice things. This excavation is not about finding nice things. It's about finding information about how people lived and how they were organized. Most of this city is buried underneath the modern city, and we can't get it anymore. But what we have here in this area of low desert is the last remaining open place where we can do these large, broad excavations. And it still continues.